Welcome to Animal Posse, the podcast dedicated to the people and rescues making a difference in the lives of animals. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Today we've got something special, something different, a conversation that blends New Orleans music, animal rescue, and the kind of heartwarming storytelling that reminds us why dogs are really man's best friend. Our guest is Craig Cortello. He is a songwriter, musician, and the Canine Crooner. Craig's Dog Tales album has become a beloved soundtrack for many animal lovers across Louisiana and the Gulf Coast, with proceeds supporting rescues like the Louisiana SPCA, North Shore Humane Society, and Zeus's Rescue. His music has been featured on WGNO, WWL, WLOX, WWOZ, Offbeat Magazine, Pup and Purr, and even the New Orleans Public Library's Crescent City Sounds. And today we're going to be diving into the stories behind the songs and the rescues that they support. Hi, Craig. Thank you for coming on the show. Welcome.
Good to be here.
I am looking forward to hearing all about the Canine Crooner. So, what you do is very unique. You are using music to help animals and rescues. And so, you're building awareness, raising money, and you're creating a very unique soundtrack for the rescue culture in the New Orleans area and in Louisiana.
Right. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. I've connected with so many wonderful people in animal rescue, many of whom have been on your show before.
Oh, what inspired you to create music specifically honoring dogs and supporting rescue organizations?
Yeah, I think the genesis of this was really we had lost our dog at the end of the first year of the pandemic back in 2020, our Sheltie named Tara. And we adopted a puppy about 10 weeks later, a border collie rescue. And about 6 months later, I was sitting on the porch with my dog, rainy day. We have a little covered patio in the backyard. That's really good creative time for musicians to sit on the porch on the bench and come up with new ideas. And I just had a song come to me that was a dog song, not really just kind of looking in that direction, but it just inspired that direction. And I think with looking back on it, we had been through so many emotions with dogs for the last 6 months, right? We lost a dog in December, adopted one in January, and we've forgotten how much work a puppy was. So all the joy of having a puppy and all the terror of having a border collie puppy. And I think 6 months in, there were just so many emotions bubbling up that it just came to the surface. And that day I started working on a song, which eventually became Angels with Four Paws and a Tail, which was on the album. And I just started kind of a sequence of writing more songs that were like that.
I have a clip from your song Angel with Four Paws and a Tail.
They'll seem a little funny, they'll nudge you with their nose, they'll rest their heads upon your lap and sometimes chew your clothes. But every day when you come home, they'll be the first you meet. They'll lick you for approval, such a silly way to greet. They'll sense when you are troubled, they'll whimper when you're sad. They'll growl at those who harm you and howl when you're glad. But mainly they will simply stay beside you without fail. These loyal little angels with four paws and a tail.
Tell us a little bit about that song. I know you said you were inspired by your new puppy, but give us a little bit more of a background on that song too.
Yeah, there's a quote that you see out on the internet, and I probably won't get it right word for word, but you see the quote with a dog that says, "I will send them to earth not with wings, so they don't know they're my angels." And I think if there's anything that really represents what an angel on earth would be like, I think it's many of those characteristics are in the dog. So that was the inspiration of that. I think there is godlike or angelic as a creature as you can imagine, and bring us so much joy. And so that was the background of it. And again, paying tribute to the dogs that bring so much to our lives.
After you wrote that song, then what was the next step?
The next step was, it was funny. After I wrote that one song, I just started thinking of more dog songs that just started coming to me, just inspired in that way. And I'm not usually that prolific in songwriting. I think like most songwriters, you go through spurts. At times you're creative, at times you put it aside for a while and do other things, musically or otherwise. But I wrote probably 8 or 9 dog songs within about 6, 7 weeks maybe. And it just started coming to me, not really planning to do that, but it started off in that direction. And I got to a point where I felt like I had enough material to do an album. And the thought occurred to me that this would be first of all, What moves people's emotions more than dogs and music, right? What a perfect marriage I thought it would be. But also, as you mentioned, it would be a different way to engage animal rescue audiences, right? All the rescues are struggling. They're trying to raise money. They're putting out their GoFundMe page. They're doing all the things they have to do to stay viable. But this is just one more way to engage their audiences, get to their hearts. But also, every time I play music, I can share their message. I can share stuff on social media. So it was a way to engage audiences that was, as you mentioned, unique and something that was really tailored to my talents.
Yeah, and you have, of course, that traditional New Orleans sound in it.
Yeah, it's a lot of different genres. I tried some of them are more, and it's a wide range. Some of these songs are more, some are more like a kid song, more kind of a fun and simple. Some are more sophisticated. I had some really great jazz musicians in the studio, and I want to give them some songs that had a little bit more to them that could get their teeth into. But really, the inspiration, I guess, if I would say my north compass on putting these compositions together was really Randy Newman, whom I'm a fan of. His song "You've Got a Friend in Me." It's a great song. It's beloved by millions, kids and adults. There's enough going on there, musically sophisticated, that adults enjoy listening to it. That was the inspiration, find something that would appeal to kids, but wasn't necessarily just a kid song. I think we've all had that experience where we had a toddler who listened to a song that we just got tired of. I just want to make sure there was something a little bit more to the music that might not bore the adults as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, now, one thing that I wanted to ask you about too is I know, like, a lot of the times animal rescues, when they're trying to reach people, they tend to reach people who are already involved in animal rescue. And so they're not reaching people that they maybe should be reaching that could be potential adopters. So, with your music having that kind of New Orleans feel to it, it's that music that everybody likes. Like you said, you have some elements in it that a child would like, but it's not just for children, it's for adults too. Do you think it
Yeah.
is also helping to reach a wider audience that these rescues might not be reaching?
Yeah, I think so. Of course, when I play, whether it's a restaurant that's dog friendly or a brew pub or a bar, and we have a rescue event, I've certainly mixed the music up. So I'll play some of the original dog stuff. I'll play some familiar stuff as well. So we try to attract a pretty broad audience. I make it comfortable and stuff that's familiar to them as well. So we mix that in. So yeah, I think we are reaching a little bit broader audience perhaps. And again, I had some really great musicians. There was a couple songs on the album when I were composing. I really heard a need for trombone in the song. So I reached out to Craig Klein, who's a wonderful trombone player here in town. He had played with a band called Boneram, and he plays at the Preservation Hall. But he just won a Grammy Award with a group called the New Orleans Nightcrawlers. The story I like to tell is I reached out to Craig, not knowing if he'd be interested in the album or not. But I said, "Look, Craig, I'm putting together a dog album. It's for a great cause." I said, "I think it would be fun for you and easy." And I said, by the way, besides, I can't make a dog album without a bone." And he said, "Craig, count me in, I'm there." So I was really pleased and privileged to work with a Grammy Award winning musician who jumped on the project. And not only him, Belinda Moody, who played upright bass. She's just an accomplished jazz performer, as well as Chris Guccione, who played drums. Just phenomenal musicians I was just really pleased and tickled they were willing to give their talents to this kind of a project.
How did you connect with the rescue groups and how did you form the relationships with them so that your album could be benefiting them proceed wise? And also, how much money have you raised for organizations and how many organizations have the funds been donated to?
Yeah, I played at events raising money for 20 different animal rescue organizations in South Louisiana and the Mississippi Gulf Coast as well. And I've raised on my own from my contributions to my event, I've raised about $13,000. I've played at larger events that have raised upwards of, we play at one called Race to the Rescue every year that's coming up in October. That raised 45,000 last year. And I played there for the last couple of years. There's another one called Frets for Pets in Ocean Springs, Mississippi that raised another $12,000. So I've played at larger events that have raised hundreds of thousands of dollars. But yeah, the first connection really came when I had the concept of the album. I knew we were going to want to do some music videos. So my son's an accomplished photographer and videographer. So I reached out to three different organizations who I had not really been involved in animal rescue, but I knew I wanted to get involved. But I had friends who had volunteered for some. So we reached out to Zeus Rescues, North Shore Humane Society, and Louisiana SPCA because I knew friends who had connections there. So I could say, yeah, my friends that volunteer. But I got this idea and I'm putting together about an album and some music videos. And I'd love to come in, just take some pictures and videos of your pups. And we'll make some music videos that will go along with the album. So that was the first kind of genesis. And I can recall back in 2021 at Zeus Rescues out on the porch there in our COVID mask, taking video and pictures of the dogs and putting it all together. So when the album came out in in fall of 2022. We had a couple of music videos to go along with it. So that was how I first got connected with Michelle at Zeus and the folks up at North Shore and then Louisiana FBCA, and just broadened from there. As I began, it's funny when you follow your muse and you follow your heart, how many like-minded people you can connect with. And it just became, the ball got to get rolling a little bit. And once I started playing out and about, you start making those connections and people get to see what you're doing. And so now whenever I have an opportunity to play where it's dog friendly, I always invite in one of the rescues in. And like I say, larger events, I met serendipitously Joanne Casey, who's the owner of Alice and Amelia gift shop on Magazine Street, but she also has the NOLA Dogs Rescue that sponsors that Race to the Rescue every year. So again, she's raised almost $250,000 over the 5 years, 6 years she's done that 5K event. And so that benefits 5 different organizations. So I met all the owners of there, and it just blossomed from there.
Another question that I wanted to ask you too. So your shows are family friendly, dog friendly. What is the energy like when you perform for an audience that's full of dogs?
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's just such a feeling of goodwill in the audience when people come to see the show because they understand what I'm doing, number one, to have the dogs there. And again, you attract a lot of people who are dog lovers and appreciate that. Yeah, the vibe is always fun. I play twice a month at the place called the Dog House on Bank Street. It's an enclosed dog park, but also a bar and restaurant. So that's the one place where you can take dogs off leash and let them just run around. So I thought I might put a little table in the corner to try to protect my little equipment and stuff, but they seem to find ways to get through there. But it's so much fun for me to just sit behind the table, play the music, and just watch the dogs running around, playing and jumping around. And eventually a lot of times they're able to break that little facade. I put that table up, guitar cases and whatever to try to protect my little area, but they seem to, especially the wiener dogs, they tend to get through there. But it's just so much fun from my perspective, just watching the dogs run around and play. And while I'm singing songs about dogs and that kind of a setting is just fantastic.
Let's talk about Go Adopt a Puppy. This one has
Yep.
kind of become a rescue anthem and it
Yep.
has a music video that's featuring adoptable dogs. It's super, super cute. I know you went through filming it a little bit. Let me play the clip for this song.
Little puppies make you smile, make you forget your cares for just a little while, make you feel like every day is sunny. They'll lick your nose and it feels so funny. Little puppies make you grin. So open up your heart and let a puppy in. They'll make you see how wonderful life can be. So when in life it seems you just can't win, scratch your puppy's belly, let him nibble your chin. So go adopt a puppy, tell all your friends, so our little puppy party never ends.
If you can tell us a little bit about the creation of that song and your inspiration for that one.
Yeah, obviously there are themes throughout all the songs a little bit that talk about adopting puppies, but this is the one that sort of hits home and really the message that I wanted to get out there. But to kind of I call it the signature song of the album, of course. I mean, it's just a little story about how much fun dogs are, and then at the end of the song, it's just, again gravitates to, but there's other dogs out there that need adopted. Yes, we love these dogs and they're great, and we find joy from them. But there's still so many puppies out there that need to be adopted. So that it kind of transitions at the end of the song to that message. And it's also a great song because every verse starts off with little puppies as the first word. And if I have a dog, let's say come into the doghouse and he's new there and his name's Chico or Simba or whatever, I can do a dedication. I just insert the name of the dog where the puppies go. So I do it as as kind of a dedication and a welcoming to new dogs that come to the events. And so it's, again, it creates a lot of goodwill. It's a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, that's great that you have the opportunity to personalize it because it really gives a connection to the dog for people who may be interested in adopting too.
Yeah, sure.
I would like to talk about your latest project, which is the legend named Scrim Run Till You're
Yep.
Home. So, Scrim
Yep.
became a local hero because of his escapes and adventures across New Orleans. He kind
Yep.
of definitely was a legend here. And I think he made it a little bit nationwide too. But for listeners who don't know who Scrim was, what made his story so special?
Yeah, I think there's obviously there are other dogs who have escaped from their home or foster parents or whatever. But I think what made this one so unique was he was a small, diminutive dog, a terrier mix perhaps, but he was very difficult to capture because he was very skittish. And Michelle at Zeus talks about when they're out there, it's not that they don't want to go home; it's that they're just in flight mode. They see everything as kind of a threat. So if she was warning people not to chase him because she would run away from you, and you maybe put him in danger. If you chase him down, he might run into the street. So it was a very tricky rescue. So it really required the assistance and support of all the people in the community, right? Because Michelle had a number where they could call in or text in sightings. So she had a little tracking map. So it became just bigger than one dog and one owner trying to track him down. It became a whole community inspired by this. And they would send clips where they saw him so they could see where he had been last. So it really something that engaged and, enamored the whole community. And as you mentioned, once they caught Scrim once, Scrim escaped the second time. The second time, he jumped out of a second floor window, was caught on the Ring camera. And that video is what caused it to go really nationwide. Michelle was on national talk shows and it was on all the evening news kind of events. So it became larger than life. And I really think Scrim at some point really jumped to a level where you put Mr. Bingle, some of the real iconic New Orleans characters. I think after that second escape, I think Scrim really hit that next level.
Yeah, and I'm gonna give a shout out right now too to all the TNR cat trappers because it was actually a
Yeah,
TNR
right.
cat
Yeah,
trapper that trapped Scrim. I
that's right.
believe it was a volunteer from Trap That Cat.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Michelle's acknowledged on the whole great deal. But yeah, it was a difficult task. Like I say, it was so quick and at one point, it actually surrounded him. They thought they had him pinned in at a house and we got away through a fence or something. So it was really tricky. It was a big effort by a lot of people and exhaustive in something.
Okay, so I'm gonna play that clip now for the legend named Scrim.
Down in New Orleans, oh, the stories they tell. Land of enchantment that knows spirits so well. But none bring a smile to the ones who live there. Like the story of the four-legged gypsy terrier. He escaped from the home of a foster one day. There was love to be had, but he was scared and ran away. So he trekked through the streets of the big, easy town. And the tale of the scampering doggy spread round. Run, run, run to your home. When you have lots of friends, then you're never alone. So New Orleans natives raise a glass, sing of him, our beloved puppy hero, the legend named Scrim.
So Scrim has a huge fan base here in New Orleans, of course.
Yeah.
People are coming up with Scrim everything. There's been Scrim t-shirts, anything they can put Scrim on, Scrim artwork. So how has the community reacted to the song?
It's been fun. Yeah. When I play it live, it gets a great reaction and it's an easy sing along too. I sing the verse 4 or 5 times in the song. I had some great musicians in the studio. I got to acknowledge Romy Kay, a local jazz singer. She did some background vocals for the chorus. It really came out fantastic. I was really thrilled at the way it came out. But as you mentioned, it became a big story, and there have been 4 or 5 books written about Scrim. I know a friend of mine, Maddie Hannon, has written a great book that she promotes. But to my knowledge, and as you mentioned, there were Christmas ornaments, the whole 9 yards, but stuffed animals, and even the Scrim candle, I think. But to my knowledge, there was never a song written, and it was in the back of my mind. I had been playing as the Canine Crooner for a couple of years at that point, and who better to do Scrim than the Canine Crooner? And finally, I play in a band called the Flip Zones, the cover band, and my bass player, we were at practice one day, he said, "Man, Craig, you need to write yourself a Scrim song." And I said, when the way he said it was like, "Craig, it's your obligation. You're the dog guy playing music." That really inspired me to sit down and say, okay, I've got some ideas that have been ruminating, but it's time to get it out there and get it into the studio and do it right. So that was really the genesis. But again, to me, it's the only Scrim song that I know. And I felt like every folk hero really needs to have a song written about them. That really puts them at that next level.
Yeah, and again, I love it just because it has that New Orleans sound, and then you have Scrim, such a New Orleans icon now. So it was really
Yeah.
good. I really enjoyed listening to that one.
And we were fortunate to Bill Wood from WGN came out actually to the Doghouse and did a little piece on the song as well. So it's a lot of fun.
All the songs that I've listened to so far have been dog songs, and you're the Canine Crooner.
Yep.
So, as a cat rescuer, I have to ask, you have any cat songs in the work?
Now I do not, and I'll tell you the reason why. I love all animals and the cats included, but I was horribly allergic to cats when I was a kid, so I just never had the experience. So I think about that often. There's probably somebody out there who is better suited and better equipped to be a cat musician than myself, but I'm not the one qualified to tell that story just because I couldn't have cats around. But I do when I do play live, there, as I mentioned, I do play some cover songs that are familiar to people as well in my set list. And I do always play Stray Cat Strut because I always acknowledge a lot of the rescues I work with and donate to, they assist cats too. We want to help our feline friends as well. So I always put a song or two about cats into the playlist as well.
Craig, your work brings joy, raises money, and celebrates the bond between dogs and their people. So, for listeners who want to support your mission, where can they find your music, upcoming shows, or donation links?
Yeah, you can go to the website, of course, is easy place to get all the information. Caninecrooner.com is the website. So you can find out more information there. Actually, if you're on Instagram as well, it's the same handle on Instagram. Just spell out Canine Crooner. And that's where you probably the best place to get note of my upcoming shows. I've been pretty busy, especially coming this fall. I've got 7 rescues in the next 7 weeks I'll be performing for. So it's a busy time of the year, typically when we roll into the fall. So that's a really good place to do it. But in terms of the music, you can find it on all the different streaming platforms. You can buy the CD. Louisiana Music Factory has a CD in stock, and you can get that there as well. Also, Old Araby Lighthouse Records and Books, they stock it as well. So you can get the information there. But yeah, Instagram's a good way to stay abreast of all the latest developments and upcoming events.
What's in the works? Do you have any new songs?
Yeah, I've got a few things in the works. I've got probably close to enough material to do a second album. So that'll be somewhere down the road. One thing I'm going to be looking into shortly, though, is I've had a lot of folks say, as I mentioned, it appeals to both kids and adults, but I've had a lot of people say, you need to get this music into appeal to kids a little bit more, get those audiences. And I had one of the festivals I played at, the moderator MC said he was actually a language arts teacher in Mississippi. He said, Craig, you really need to get these songs in front of kids. So that the next step. At some of the events where they're kid friendly, I've been bringing coloring crayons and some coloring. The depiction of my album cover is cartoonish, and I bring those in black and white so kids can color them. And I'm also looking into the idea of an illustrated children's book, which would be a companion to the CD. So you would have the lyrics would essentially be the words to the book and be illustrated. And again, kids could also sing along and listen to the music.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. It's great to get kids involved in it too, because, with the music is going to stick with them if they like it. And
Yep.
not only that, but if they're learning about rescue through the music, that's something that's going to stay with them through their life. They're going to tell their friends about it, and they're also going to tell their parents about it. So it really does help spread the word about rescue and bring awareness to it.
Yeah, it's so important we hit the next generation and give these messages, and it's important. And I think it's again, I was at one rescue, Meta Humane, and I did an event for them. And one of the little girls there bought a CD. Her mom bought a CD for her, and she responded the next day and said she hasn't stopped listening since she got home. So that was one of my objectives too, as I ease toward retirement. I'm getting pretty close, and I wanted to do more music, get back to music in a serious way, and also get back to volunteerism. And I'd worked with Rotary clubs and school advisory boards, but I just decided animal rescue was the direction I wanted to go. So this has been just a fantastic vehicle for me to take both of those paths. And as I get more time available, there's more projects and more things I want to do. Certainly no shortage of people that even hear this music and things I want to do to help.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what you have coming out next. It's a very entertaining way and a unique way to support animal rescue. So thank you for all that you're doing. And thank you so much for coming on the show to tell us all about it and sharing your clips.
Yeah, thank you. Also, thank you for providing this platform to all the folks. One thing I've learned from doing this work, I've been close to now a lot of the folks in animal rescue, and I'm just amazed by what they do and their resilience and what they go through and just emotional toll it can take on people, but they just continue to, because they're so strong in their belief, to continue to do this work. So I hope, if anything, hope this music does is put the spotlight on those wonderful people who work in animal rescue like yourself.
Thank you. And another thing I think that it does too, like you said, rescue does have a big toll that it takes on people. And I think that this is a good way to lighten the mood. It's feel good.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right. Thank you for coming on the show. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
That's it for today's episode of Animal Posse. If you love what we're doing, please consider becoming a member. Your support directly helps us continue highlighting the people and stories that save lives across the country. Just a quick reminder, the views and opinions expressed by our guests are theirs alone and are provided for entertainment purposes. They don't necessarily reflect the official position of the show, and this information should never replace the advice of your own veterinarian. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bars in the night, claws in the fight, whiskers twitch and tails take flight. They're calling in stories to spin from the wild to the heart within. Broken wings and hopeful springs, we're the voices for these things. Animal Posse, hear the call. We stand together, big and small. Rescue tales, we've got it all. Animal Posse, saving them all. The vet's got tips, the rescuer's grit, the foster homes where love won't quit. From a pup in the rain to a bird in pain, every soul's worth the strain. Animal Posse, hear the call. We stand together, big and small. Rescue tales, we've got it all. Animal Posse, saving them all. Every caller tells a tale, every howl a whispered wail. We rise up, we never fail. This is the bond, the holy grail. Animal Posse, hear the call. We stand together, big and small. Rescue tales, we've got it all. Animal Posse, saving them all. Every caller tells a tale, every howl a whispered wail. We rise up, we never fail. This is the bond, the holy grail.